So have you ever had one of those buttons pop up on your computer screen that says, software update available? Do you want to install it now? Well, our computers use programs to process vast amounts of information. And programmers know that if we're running faulty programs, we get faulty results. And this is why we have the upgrade process for our computers. Well, it turns out your subconscious works much the same way. In fact, our subconscious will process up to 40 million pieces of information every single second. And in order to process those huge amounts of information, our subconscious chooses programs. And the thing is, we've been choosing those programs since we were a child. And now as an adult, we may still be running the same programs and getting messy results in our life. So who wants an upgrade button for their subconscious programming? I have figured out how to access mine, and that's what I want to share with you. So I want you to play with me here for a minute. Everybody, fold your arms. Good, now look down and see which arm is on top. Okay, unfold them. Now fold them back with the other arm on top. Okay, how does that feel? It's awkward, it's uncomfortable. This person over here is like, arms do not do that. But what you're feeling there, in science, they have a term called cognitive dissonance. Now, cognitive dissonance states that we cannot hold on to two conflicting ideas without discomfort. Our brain cannot hold on to two conflicting ideas without discomfort. So you can all unfold your arms now. I don't want you to fold your arms the whole time. But what you felt there was the feeling of a conflicting program. And so cognitive dissonance is one of the parts that gives us an opportunity to upgrade our subconscious programming. And here's the other part. When it comes to communication, there are three main parts to our communication. There's the words that we speak, and then there's the tone of those words. Have you ever gotten in trouble for your tone of voice? Yeah, it has messages with it. And the third part is our gestures or our body language. And so when we don't know what messages we're sending with our body language and they don't match the words we speak, people will discount the words that they hear to believe the gestures they see, because our subconscious understands the difference between those two messages. But Ann, how can our brain send out two different messages at the same time? Well, it's because your subconscious is what runs the majority of your body language. And remember, our subconscious is working on programs. And our subconscious, or our whole brain, is inherently out to conserve energy. Our brain wants to conserve energy and knows that it's easier to maintain the current programs than to adopt a new one. And so when we put these two ideas together, we now have access to this update for our subconscious programming. So let me explain by telling you where I was in my life not too long ago. In fact, it was only about 6 years ago that I was at a place where, let's just say, it was very hard. I tried to interact with people, and I found people to be very argumentative, to be unpredictable, to be hard to be around. And it was just not fun. And I decided that everybody on this planet is just mean. It's just the way it was. In fact, I got to where I would send my kids to school in the morning, and then I would hide inside the house. And I wouldn't answer the door, and I wouldn't answer the phone, because no matter how hard I had tried, the results I was getting were not matching the effort I was putting forth to interact with people, and I felt stuck. So this is where I was, and I saw people having opportunities, but I couldn't seem to catch one for myself. So even though in my life I had worked as an engineer in flight simulation and explosives, this is the point of my life where I changed and started studying communication and body language. And as I learned these two parts that I just told you, I started to recognize that they would give me a choice to change the way I interact with people. And I began to put it into practice because I wanted to understand why some people could figure these things out, but I wasn't. So let me teach you a little bit about body language so you can understand what's going on here. When somebody feels weak, if I feel weak, I will use weak, closed body language. My shoulders will come down. I'll fold my arms. I'll look down. Maybe even my weight goes on one leg because I feel weak. But by contrast, when somebody feels strong, their body language opens up. They might put their arms down to their side. Their shoulders go up. Their chin goes up. They'll smile. Their weight goes on both legs. Now remember, in my life at this time, I felt weak, but I wanted to be strong. And so I decided I was going to figure this out. And I looked around me at people who were successful. I looked at celebrities. I looked at business owners. I looked at people around me in relationships that were having very strong, powerful relationships. And I realized that these successful people were not behaving exactly the same as me. So here's how it looked for me. Since I felt weak and I was afraid of the people I was interacting with, I very often folded my arms. I kept my arms folded a lot. And if anybody had asked me why, I'd tell them, well, because I have nowhere else to put my hands when I'm not using them. I don't want them just hanging out here. I'm going to fold my arms. But when I watched these successful people, the majority of the time when they weren't using their hands, they put them down to their sides. So I decided I was going to try it. And if you could have been in my brain at the time, it would have been very entertaining. Because as I walked around, I had this dissonance going on inside of my head. Because my old program was saying people are unsafe. But I was choosing to send a message that I felt strong and comfortable and open around people. So I said, my hands will go here when I'm not using them. Now, that doesn't mean I walked around like this. That would be very weird. But it does mean that when I wasn't using them, I put them away here. But then my subconscious would say, it's more comfortable to fold your arms. And I'd say, no, I want my arms here. Fold them here, fold them here, fold them here. And that's what it felt like in my head. But after a little while, my subconscious decided, you know what? It's going to be easier to just adopt the new program and not keep arguing with her. And I began to feel differently. And so people around me started to notice. Now, you can feel this with me right now. Some of you may have heard of this scientific term. It's called gravity. You heard of that one? It pulls down on us really well. And during the day, it likes to pull down on our shoulders and pull down on our chin. So everybody, let your shoulders come down and your chin come down. Now, how does that feel? People tell me it feels tired, it feels burdened, it feels depressed. But now, instead, pull your shoulders back up and pull your chin just above level. Now, how does that feel? It feels empowered, like I'm awake, I can do it. You've just felt the difference in changing or choosing a new program. In fact, in 2009, there was a study that was published in the European Journal of Social Psychology. And in there, what they had done was they asked people to fill out a self-evaluation. And they did the self-evaluation either in a slumped stance or in good posture. And the people who had good posture rated themselves higher on their self-evaluation. And it turns out your grandma was right, because she was pretty smart. She kept telling us to sit up straight. But that is an opportunity to feel different on the inside of us. So that's one of the things that I did to start changing my programming. May I share two more with you? Okay, what I noticed about me. Well, actually, let's talk about you for a minute. When it comes to body language, I watch body language everywhere I go. And I've worked with thousands of people. And what I found is that the majority of people will use a lot of push away body language. They push away. And then they wonder why they're not getting job promotions or raises or opportunities or relationships in their life. But they're pushing things away. In fact, the fastest way to see somebody use push away body language is give them a compliment. When you give somebody a compliment, how do they respond? Thank you. And they like throw the compliment away, or they'll explain it away. I love it. I do little tests all the time. I'll give people a compliment and then I watch their body language after the compliment. And often people suddenly have to brush off their pants when they get a compliment, or they'll like brush their shoulder. Or my favorite was once I gave a lady a compliment and she said, "Oh, thanks." And I'm like, "So that was a disgusting booger you had to flick off your finger." When we have compliments coming to us, if we can't receive a compliment, how are we going to receive other things coming to us? So I recognized this and decided I wanted to access this program that was inside of me, whatever it was. And I realized the easiest way to do this would be to change how I reacted to a compliment. And so now, instead of pushing compliments away, I decided when somebody gave me a compliment, I would scoop it up in front of me and place it gently in my heart. So I would just go like this, while using the magic words, "Thank you." Have you heard those words? They're good. So try it with me. Thank you. Oh, do it again. That's fun. Thank you. Now notice how a lot of your mouths, the corners of your mouth went up when you did that, because you felt the difference. You felt the difference. And so when you use this kind of body language, it's changing the program in your subconscious. And as I was doing this in my life, people started to notice the difference in me. And one of the people that noticed the difference was my teenage son. Because at this point in my life, he was 13 years old, and we had been moving around quite a bit. So he had gone to 4 different junior highs. Anybody ever been to junior high? Crazy place, junior high. And he'd been to 4 of them. So he comes home one day after the first day in his 4th junior high. So now I need a volunteer. Oh, awesome. Would you come up and be my volunteer? So he'd just gone to his 4th day, or his first day in the 4th junior high. So what I'm wanting from you is I need really great teenage boy body language. Can you do that for me? Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah, get that phone out there. Okay, so let's put that away for just a second, but fold your arms for me and just freeze, but turn this way so everybody can see you. Is anybody ever seen a teenager before? That's pretty good body language. Yeah, exactly. So here's my teenager, and he's standing like this, and he goes, "Mom, tell me why the kids keep picking on me." And I'm like, "Ooh, all right, I'll tell you. I'll help you with that." And he's like, "Is it body language?" And I said, "Yes, dear, that's what I do." And he goes, "Fine, tell me then." So I knew with that attitude, I had time to only share one piece of body language with him. And I wanted to share something that would send a different message out, but also send a different message to his subconscious. And so I chose legs. And I asked him, I said, "At school, do you stand with your weight on one leg like this?" And he goes, "Yeah, Mom, we all do, duh." And I'm like, "Well, Mr. Attitude, did you know when you stand with your weight like this, it sends a weak message. It sends a message you feel weak and that you could be easily knocked off balance." So I said, "Instead, if you'll come put your weight on both legs, when you're at your locker or up in front of the class, now this will send the message that you're strong in your foundation and people will treat you differently." And he rolled his eyes and he's like, "Sure, Mom." So thank you. Thank you for being my volunteer. So I waited and I thought, well, we'll just see what happens. And it wasn't maybe 2 weeks later, he comes home and he walks in the house. And when he saw me, I could tell he had something he wasn't quite ready to share with me yet. So I just waited patiently. And he comes over and he stands next to me and he goes, "Mom, it works." And he ran out of the room. but he tried it. And the end of that school year, I gave him the option to change schools again. And he said, "Nuh-uh, Mom, I have more friends and better results at this school than any of the schools I've been to." And the only thing I taught him was legs. But that teaching him of that helped him access programs in his subconscious. So it turns out you have an update available for your subconscious programming. The question is, are you going to install it now? Change your body language and change your results.
Okay, good. So you have finished the video and I hope it made sense. And I'm also hoping that you're taking down notes. See, Ann Washburn is a very well-known expert on body language. And the story that she told about her son is true and real. Now imagine if just by standing correctly, just by correcting his posture, he's able to command respect. Imagine what we can do if we pay attention to the things that she talked about, the simple pointers that she talked about. Okay, and you would have seen it too, and how it changes if you did exactly what she asked you. Droop your shoulders down, put your chin down, or when you look up and you put your shoulders straight up, how do you feel? And that is what the science behind body language is, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so body language can be mastered, but it cannot be tricked. I'll say that again. Body language can be mastered, but it cannot be tricked. Because you will unknowingly, because that's your subconscious function, you're not in control of that function. You will unknowingly give out signals that will either confirm to what you're saying or it'll contradict. Remember, we discussed this in previous section. Support, contradicts, and substitute. And that's what body language is all about. So I hope it made sense to you. Put your learning for today in the comment section, everybody, okay? Because this is how you will ensure that you remember it for life, okay? So make sure that you write it down, put it down in the comment section. What is your learning from this session? And I'll see you in the next